Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second segment, episode 251 of Sold with Updike Pugh. I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh. Today we thought we'd take and talk to you a little bit about the history of Oak Lawn.
It's really, Oak Lawn, as you said earlier, there's a lot of neighborhoods that have a lot of history, but Oak Lawn itself really, I think, has a deeper history than many of the other areas because of its location close to downtown. You know, Dallas started initially on the Trinity River, and then just kind of blew out
Slowly
from there.
blossomed.
Yeah.
What are the the boundaries of Oak Lawn?
Well, let me show you. So
Okay.
it's really interesting. If you go into Google Maps, you can actually type in Oak Lawn, Dallas, Texas, and it brings this map up, and it will show you in a slightly unhighlighted way where Oak Lawn is. It basically comes down 35. Uptown is technically included in Oak Lawn. It goes over to 75, goes all the way up to Knox Henderson, and then cuts back across and kind of encompasses the Knox Park area, portions of Turtle Creek, part of the Katy Trail. It's actually a planned development.
That is so interesting that this map, because as locals here, there would be a huge argument about this. That is not how it gets cut. Like typically people think that at Turtle Creek, when it crosses over, that is the stopping point.
Yeah.
As far as like the southern, and that going all the way up to Knox, no way. So
this area was really started in 1846 by William Grigsby. He was a settler that came here, and it was part of the Texas Revolution that happened. And when he came, he took over this land that was actually promised to a different man. It was promised to a man named John Cole. And he, over several years, eventually agreed to sell the land to John Cole. Sold him 160 acres, which is what you see inside that map, for $1 an acre. 1840s, that's a lot of money back then.
That seems even by that standard, seems low. Here's my question: the last name Grigsby, do we see that on any streets?
You don't see it on streets. You do see it in. Let's see. We don't see it in streets, but we've seen it in buildings. Another real interesting part about John Cole is you play at Cole Park. That is where he originally built his home. He had a general store there. John Cole was also a doctor, and so he set up his practice there as well. And by the 1870s, people were just pouring into these neighborhoods because they were not in the middle of the central business district. And guess what else they had?
Freshwater.
A freshwater spring.
And that is so weird to me, because when we talk about like Cedar Springs is named, when you and I used to represent and sold Piazza and Parkside, there was a creek that went through there, and I remember looking on the opposite side of the creek, and there was water. And I remember telling you, hey, it looks like someone hit, fresh water line. And you're like, no, it's a creek.
Yeah.
So you can see it, actually, a spring coming out, and it feeds this creek that runs through. It's interesting, too, because it also causes a lot of changing in the soil in that area. Because that water table is so close to the surface.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting, and I do play Cole Park. Actually, it's funny. Dallas Morning News has an article today about firefighters that were on their downtime, pulled up in a fire truck and went and played pickleball at Cole Park yesterday.
Interesting.
Good pictures. Really cute story.
So many of the people that moved into this area moved in, and they really began a lot of their development right around the Methodist Church. And we know where the Oak Lawn United Methodist Church is now. That is the original location, although the building we see today is the third building.
But it's still old. Have you been inside of it?
Yes.
It still feels very, very, very old. Not like old like Mexico old.
No, the current building was built in 1915.
Interesting.
So that building is the third building, and it is still over 100 years old.
Well, what's also is a little fun fact about the Oak Lawn area is that it had the first gay club called the Club Reno.
Reno. Yeah, 1947.
That is early. And it also had the first gay pride in 1972, the year after I was born. Isn't that special?
And in October of 2018, it was Oak Lawn was commemorated with the Texas State Historical Marker. You can see it right on the street, right in front of JR's. Yep. And it was becoming the first neighborhood in any Texas city to receive a marker for its LGBTQ history.
I did not know. And it's so interesting because we may have been the first, but did you think about some of the other locations in other cities? I feel like their gay community and their gay is a little bit, has even more. And I wonder if it's just because of the acceptance that we have here in Dallas that people are like in Oak Cliff and then they migrate into Uptown and it's just like this giant smorgasbord now. Some of the landmarks that are really crucial to this area, again, as we talked about, the Oak Lawn Methodist Church. Did you know that they actually have a coffee house just on the backside of that now?
Yep, I've been there one time.
I believe there's also a little dog park there in this area. So it's a really great area that sets up. I believe that the people that actually run that and that actually it goes to are some of the homeless in the area. So it's a really good one too for that.
This was also where the school was located originally for that area. So it's this corner kind of became the central point for Oak Lawn for many, many, many years.
Interesting.
One of the other historical buildings there is the Oak Lawn Fire Station. And this was built in 1909. It was designed by architect Herbert Green. The building is an excellent example of Dallas's early public architecture and exhibits American Prairie School style with some mission style embellishments in it.
To me, there are elements of this that remind me of Highland Park Village.
Yes.
And there is a little bit of even of the crossover into Fair Park. And I believe that all kind of was tied into the same time as they were coming up for the 1938 Expo. Really interesting information there. Melrose Hotel is across the street and down the way. This is a really classic hotel. Forever, we would always go to the library bar there. It was one of the few places that has excellent jazz. And just recently, they have bought up additional older shopping centers that were adjacent to it, converted it into a spa, and added a pool there off this. So it is a wonderful, wonderful classic hotel.
I've stayed there a couple of times. It's been special occasions that we've stayed there over the years, and it has a really historical feel to it just when you walk in. My friend Ed Ishmael and I used to meet there for breakfast whenever he was in town, and their restaurant is really great for breakfast.
Margie and I, when Margie was back here, she's one of our clients. She and I used to go to the library on Thursdays and they had salmon tartare nachos and old fashions. She's like, they're the best. They were really good stuff.
So the last building that we wanted to talk about is the Stephen J. Hay Elementary School, and this is 3801 Herschel, which is on the other side of Lemon Avenue. So it's kind of back behind where the Whole Foods is, and it's been through a variety of uses. It is still part of the DISD building structure. This housed the Women's Academy for many, many years. I think it was temporary while they were building the permanent Irma Rangel Women's Academy, and I think it's used by administrative uses right now. There are no classes in it as far as I know.
So the interesting thing to me is this area. It has a ton of green space because it still has the fields and everything like that. That space. This is where that neighborhood uses for lots of dog walking in the evenings and in the mornings. Lots. Great sidewalks in this area. But again, if you've got one of those dogs that needs to air it out, this is a great location to go take them for a run.
And this was designed by Thomas Galbraith, which is the same architect that did the Hall of State at Fair Park.
Yep,
so
that's correct.
It's really a kind of a non single, like it was built to be a very simple building, knowing it was going to be a school.
Yep. I think they accomplished that.
I do too. So we hope you found this helpful. If there's any information that you think would be information for us to know about the history of Oak Lawn, throw it in the comments. We would love to hear that.
And just remember, we want to be realtors for life.
When you're ready to talk real estate, you can reach us online, by phone, or by text at 214-377-2223.
And remember, we want to be realtors for life.